Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, October 5th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S., 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 in Bermuda and Mexico City, 10:30. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. The bomber who attempted to blow up a car in Times Square last New Year's Eve has been sentenced to life in prison just this morning. On this day, 63 years ago, President Harry S. Truman, the first American president, conducted a televised news conference. He urged Americans to eat less pork and beef in order to save those commodities for starving Europeans. How quickly the worm has turned. Now to our main news. This man has not been in the news for a while, but he's back in the news today. He looks a little bit older than he did the last time we saw him. This, of course, is Jerome Kerviel, the rogue trader at Societe Generale. Mr. Kerviel was sentenced today to 3 years in prison. He was also fined 4.9 billion euros. He was found guilty of unauthorized trades. He was found guilty on all counts of forgery, breach of trust, and unauthorized computer use. The 33-year-old Kerviel is likely to appeal. He made the unauthorized trades with the bank's money. At one point, he took a 50 billion euro wager without telling his bosses. He became a little bit of an anti-establishment folk hero in France. His Facebook site has amongst the highest number of hits in France. He still has to deal with that 4.9 billion euro fine. I don't think he's really going to be able to pay that off. In Bermuda last night, the board of Allied World Assurance Company Holdings has approved, as expected, the plan for redomestication of the insurance company's holding company to Switzerland. Following the move, the Bermuda-based reinsurance unit will continue to operate with 16 offices worldwide. Scott Carmilani said that this allows us to serve our local markets around the world better, and we will continue to maintain a strong presence in the Bermuda market. Here's an interesting story. A week ago today, the Florida Insurance Commissioner, Commissioner McCarty, was in Bermuda. It's a little bit like President Obama and Secretary of Treasury Geithner going to visit the Chinese leadership. We owe them $850 billion. Anyway, the Florida commissioner was in there to meet with, he was representing two groups, and he met with two groups. One was the Reinsurance Association of America, and the other one was the Association of Bermuda Insurers and Reinsurers. Florida, of course, relies on Bermuda reinsurers for a substantial amount of its reinsurance associated with catastrophe risk. The commissioner said Florida has the same insurable value as the state of New York, with 10 times the coastline. Not to mention we're geographically located in one of the most hurricane-prone parts of the world. No kidding. He said, I appreciate the opportunity to meet with the global reinsurance leaders here to answer their questions and continue to promote Florida's property insurance marketplace. The NAIC had asked the commissioner to attend these events on their behalf, and they paid for his trip. He serves as the vice president of the NAIC. Swiss Re's in the news. They saw a fairly substantial lawsuit dismissed last night. Actually, the shareholder lawsuit against the reinsurer was dismissed over alleged misstatements about its risk management and exposure to mortgage-backed securities, namely those backed by subprime mortgages. The consolidated lawsuit, which was filed in federal court in Manhattan, revolved around about $1.25 billion loss that Swiss Re announced in November of 2007 related to two credit default swaps. The swaps related to portfolios of mortgage-backed securities. The judge yesterday dismissed the case. He cited a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision that restricted the ability of foreign investors to pursue securities fraud claims on foreign shares. The lead plaintiff is a pension fund that bought Swiss Re's common stock on a foreign exchange. The suit tried to represent purchasers of Swiss Re stock between March of 2007 and November of 2007. So the court ruled that the plaintiffs had no standing to bring a securities fraud claim in American courts because they were non-American shareholders who bought shares of a foreign company overseas. I think there's a little problem called international shoe with the minimum contacts law. Well, Allstate has filed a lawsuit accusing Toyota of negligence, product liability, breach of implied warranty, and fraud in connection with the faulty accelerators that allegedly have been tied to at least 700 car accidents. The Allstate complaint said that Toyota had, quote, full knowledge of the numerous complaints regarding its cars and that such vehicles were susceptible to sudden unintended acceleration and thus posed a risk of property damage as well, of course, as physical injury to vehicle occupants and other motorists. The complaint said that the undisclosed flaws in the electronic throttle have been tied to 18 deaths. Allstate says it's paid out $3 million in claims related to this sudden acceleration of Toyotas. Toyota, of course, called the allegations unfounded and said that the engineers who work for them have found no evidence that the car's electronic throttles cause sudden acceleration. They did recall 8 million vehicles worldwide, supposedly because of sticky fuel pedals. The stock market in New York is up about 135 points right now. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news.
Every day, the world wakes up and goes to work, pursuing the unique opportunities that lead the global economy forward. The complexity and close connectivity of today's global marketplace is a true modern miracle that can create unparalleled success. But it takes confidence, passion, innovation, and understanding.
Enabling opportunity.
Protecting capital.
Engineering innovation.
Investing in your future.
Ensuring continuity.
Finding the right balance.
It takes Aon.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the Lloyd's Exchange. The Insurance Day had a few articles about it. And before we do, once again, we'll mention the caveat that our sister company, CATEX, produces a product called Pivot Point, which encapsulates all of the functionalities and many, many, many more, as does the Lloyd's Exchange. So here we go. Lloyd's confirmed today that United Insurance Brokers, UIB, a venerable company over there, has sent the first live endorsement request message through the Lloyd's Exchange. The message was sent through the Trace ISIS messaging service software to Canopius, which is a syndicate, and was agreed to by the cargo underwriter Joe Mellon. The result comes towards the end of a 4-month pilot involving Lloyd's managing agents, market carriers, and brokers. The technology will eventually eradicate the need for brokers to line up at a Lloyd's box to make adjustments or amendments to policies. Listen to this. Steve Pallett, technical director at UIB's Marine Division, said, quote, "Currently, brokers are lining up even for something as minor as a typo on a document. So this will not only save brokers time and shoe leather, it also gives underwriters the ability to manage and prioritize broker inquiries, as at present they can't manage who or what is waiting for them in the line at their box." Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, the next story about the Lloyd's Exchange has to do with the governing of the entity. A cross-market company has been established to oversee its governance. The name of the company, the Message Exchange Limited, presumably will be known as its acronym TIML, T-I-M-E-L, TIML. The company will have equal representation from the International Underwriting Association, the London and International Insurance Brokers, Lloyd's, and the Lloyd's Market Association. It will assume ownership of the exchange over the next few months. And then the first task it's going to have, actually, is to renegotiate the pilot contract with IBM. TIML will have 4 directors, each representing one of the constituencies. The first group is Catlin's Karori Hawk. He's the IUA representative. Liberty Syndicate's Kirk Mattern is representing the LMA. And representing the LIIBA is our friend Willis's Simon Gaffney. And Peter Spires is going to be representing it from Lloyd's. What an interesting collection. I will not say what any reader of this story who has a historical background in Lloyd's IT ventures is undoubtedly thinking. I will not say that. I wish them well, actually. God knows they need it. Well, we've forgotten about this story for a while, but the 33 miners trapped about a mile underground in Chile are apparently very close to being rescued. This is according to a source none other than the Chilean president, Sebastian Pinera. President Pinera said, forget about the fact that they've been trapped down there, he's working to align their rescue schedule before his planned trip to Europe next week. He said, for me, it's very important to share this moment not only with the miners, but with their families and all Chileans. Pinera, of course, told the miners after they were found alive back in August that they'd be saved by Christmas. The rescue leaders are cautious. They've made some advances in drilling the escape tunnel. It's pushed the date forward from Christmas. Just last week they set it for late October. They remain cautious that they may be able to meet the president's timeline. The men have now been underground for 59 days. They're buried under 700,000 tons of rock. They seem to be in good spirits, though. Something terrible is happening in Hungary. A third person has now died in flooding caused by the rupture of a red sludge reservoir at an aluminum plant in the western part of the country. 6 people are missing, 120 are injured. The local officials say this is an ecological disaster. The sludge is a waste product of aluminum production. It contains heavy metals and obviously is toxic if ingested. Many of the injured people have sustained burns as the sludge seeped through their clothes. The chemical burns apparently can take days to reveal themselves and may initially seem like superficial injuries, but they damage deep tissue. 7 towns, including the town of Kalantal and Devasir, have been affected by the plant. I'll go ahead and try to pronounce this. It's the Ajke Timfolgir plant in the town of Ajka, which is about 100 miles southwest of Budapest. The government has declared a state of emergency. Several hundred tons of plaster are being poured into the Marcal River to bind the toxic sludge and prevent it from flowing on into Budapest. No kidding, a disaster. Well, if you've ever been in southeastern England, you've noticed a number of magnificent iron piers that were built during the Victorian era, 100 or so years ago. 2 come to mind. There's the pier at Brighton. There's actually 2 piers there. And then there was a pier up until last night in Hastings. Hastings, of course, better known for being the landing spot of William the Conqueror in 1066, also had a famed 19th century pier. It was I think a meeting place for many people in southeastern England. It's a relic of gentler times when people went to the seashore for weekends. It also holds a place in rock and roll lore. The Rolling Stones, The Who, and Jimi Hendrix played concerts on the pier back in the 1960s. Last night it was torched. 2 teenagers have been arrested. The pier has been declared a complete loss. It's possible that some of the iron infrastructure might be saved. The pier was one of 14 seaside attractions designed by Eugene Birch in the 19th century. His first was in Margate in 1853, and the last one he built was in Plymouth in 1884. Up until this morning, 7 survived. Now 6 do. It's unfortunate. They're very pretty structures, and I've seen the Hastings Pier and I've seen the Brighton Pier. The stock market maintains its upward bounce.